Hello and welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show brought to you by Oak City Tech. Oak City Tech gives their clients an edge over their competition with web and logo design that make them stand out above the competition. They increase brand awareness and generate leads with SEO and social media presence. They convert those leads into clients to help your business grow. Founded in Raleigh in 2009, Oak City Tech works with businesses, organizations, and brands around the country. Go to oakcitytech.com, tell Drago we sent you, and he will help you grow your business. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning, and each week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a small business success story from Triangle BNI. BNI is Business Networking International. We call the Triangle home here. If you're not familiar with Central North Carolina, it's Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. About 600 members getting together each week to help each other grow our business. Our guest this week, Ashley Rutledge, the founder and owner of Ashley Rutledge CPA. Ashley, how are you today?
Great, thank you. How are you?
Good. We are glad to have you here today because we just don't get enough CPAs around here. And I know you get the question at the backyard parties. Oh, hey, Ashley, quick question. And it's April 10th. Quick question on taxes, right?
Right. Well, I get I know you're busy, and I think, oh gosh, here it comes.
Yeah.
But yes, it never fails. I'll get emails, I'll get phone calls,
Yeah.
backyard parties.
It's the CPA, the lawyer, and the IT guy is what I found that just, hey, I know, yeah. It's like, no. You're about to ask me a question, and I'm off the clock here. So, anyways, this is the middle of August. We have a big deadline coming up, September 15th, for self-employed people, self-employed business owners, however you want to call it. September 15th deadline. They have to pay their projected taxes. Is that the correct way to say it?
It is, and it's really for business tax returns. So the September 15th is a big one if you're an S corp, a partnership, C corp. It's really to get your return filed for the prior year if you're on extension. That's your September 15th deadline. And there is also the estimated tax payment. It's also another
But the
extension.
September 15th is the quarterly
That's the
payment,
quarter.
and it's estimated. So for people that are new like me, well,
Mhm.
not new to this, but if they're new to being a small business, what are they looking at when we tell them estimated taxes?
Estimated tax. So it's for if you've paid the other prior quarters, it's just looking at quarter three, your net income. You want to do your estimated taxes that you might owe for self-employment and your ordinary tax.
We're not to the point where we're deducting anything out of that. So if you made $10,000 in was that Q3?
Q3.
Okay. If you brought in $10,000 of revenue in Q3, that's what they need to put down?
Yeah, especially, and it really depends on when you started your business. If you just started it, you're just looking at quarter three, and you're really wanting to zoom in on your income. And if you don't have any deductions or expenses, then you definitely are just looking at your income that's come in.
If you do have expenses, if you have 10,000 revenue and say 2,000 for a building lease or something like that, you would deduct that from the 10,000.
Because
But
it's net income.
okay,
Mhm.
but you don't have to go in. A third of my house is my office, and I use the phone and the computer and all that. You don't have to go that deep, right?
You could go that deep if you really felt comfortable
Okay.
going that deep, but no. I and in many ways you want to get a good estimate to them. It doesn't have to be exact. You just want to get a good close.
Okay. What's the government looking for when you say close? What are they looking for?
It depends, right? I know.
Well, you just told me you were going to use
I
it,
know, but I'm gonna expound
and
on
that's
it.
fine. Yeah, that's
Right.
good.
So it depends. If you are, you have to look at two different rates when you're paying taxes. It's when you're self-employed like that, you're looking at your ordinary tax rate, which is kind of your taxable
Mhm.
income, and then you also have a self-employment tax rate, which is
Right.
over 7.5%. So
Why do we have that? Small businesses are employing people. Why do they kill us with that? But that's another show. So yeah.
yes, you can make a whole show
Oh
on
yes.
that.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I've thought about it many times when I said that. But anyway, so back to what's the government looking for?
Yeah, it could be depending on what your that ordinary tax base rate is, it
Mm,
could be anything from 15 to 40%. It just really depends on what other income, if you have a spouse,
mhm.
and all that factors into your tax return. So we have to look at it very holistically.
But the number the small business owners the estimated number they're sending in is just for their revenue,
Mhm.
not their spouse who may or may not have a full-time job, just theirs.
Correct, but the rate is determined
Gotcha, on that,
on
okay.
their
But for as far as what they need to do for the government, just send in what they're doing.
correct.
Right.
Mhm.
What do we do wrong on those that could get us into trouble?
Not paying them.
Okay, good start. Good start.
Not paying them. A lot of people, it's not they get in trouble, they end up paying too much, is they take the top number, just their whole income, instead of deducting the expenses and then calculating. So that's a mistake, but to the good of the government,
Right.
not to you.
And they're not gonna
Um,
send that back. Yeah.
no, no. I mean, you may get it back eventually. It'll be a while when you file your tax return.
If you didn't send yours in by September 15th, how long would it take the government to go, "Hey, we see you on the books, but we've not seen a filing here"?
If it's your first year, they're
Yeah.
not gonna really hit you until you file your tax return.
Okay.
The next year, they're gonna say, "Oh, you underpaid. Here's a penalty. Oh, and by the way, now you're locked into these set number of estimated tax payments."
For small business owners within, I guess we certainly go back to January 1 to the calendar year. Would we go further back? Anyways, let me see if I can ask it this way. What should they know? What should they be doing? Should they have an accountant already?
I would highly recommend one, not only if you're just getting started so that you pick the right entity,
Mhm.
right, that works for your entire tax
Yeah.
return and your life, but also you have all your filings done. So you've registered for your tax ID
Yeah.
number, everything's ready. And then you can really use an accountant or CPA to start estimating what profits you're going to look at. So that way, that first one, when it hits you April
Yeah.
15th, you're ready for it.
And these probably are not gonna be long, drawn out sessions with your accountant because 'cause you're just looking over the numbers that need to be estimated. You're not
Mhm.
drilling down into 22% of my house is you're not doing that yet. You're just looking to top line expenses, top line revenue, top line expenses,
Mhm.
and then send that in. The government just wants to keep track of that and make
Mhm.
sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
And they're happy to get really any amount
Oh, yes, they are.
from
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
But yeah, I would say for most people, it's an hour or two.
yeah.
It's not.
And we're just sending in the number, we're not sending in a check.
So at those deadlines, so the April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, you're not only sending in like a worksheet that
Yeah,
calculates, you should also be sending in basically that number divided by 4. So you're sending a payment with
okay,
that.
right.
They
It
want money too.
Right, and
Yeah.
that's where the accountant really could come in and help you because you don't wanna overpay because 'cause you'll never get that money back. We know that, right? And if you underpay, you're likely gonna get a letter or a phone call.
And they really won't start, penalizing you till you go to file your tax return, but every dollar adds up. So even if it's only a couple,
Yeah.
maybe $20, $40 or a couple $100 of penalty, that's money out of your business instead of money back to you.
Being a small business owner, I don't know if, other small business owners feel this way, but my brother and I, we've had a couple together as well, and we just know there's one IRS person sitting there spinning that wheel, and, "Oh, look, your company came up, Mr. Man." He's like, "Oh, the one time." So that's why it's probably good. Granted, I don't think they do that. Maybe.
There's a lot of computerized now, but
Yeah.
still, there's a human element
Yeah.
to what they're doing,
Too
and
funny.
sometimes we know there's a notice coming. It's just a matter of
Yeah.
when.
Yeah, and the government's not a good place to ask for forgiveness.
No,
Yeah.
they usually give you one, much
Okay.
like the court system will. They'll
Okay.
give you a gimme, but then after that, they're
Yeah.
unforgiving.
And don't waste that gimme on $8. Waste
Mm-mm.
that one on 8,000 or
Yeah,
something like this.
go big on
Not
that
that we're
one.
condoning that, but yeah, so just so we know. So Ashley Rutledge CPA, she is in RD 21 South Glenwood Connection, Wednesdays at
Wednesdays
noon
at noon.
at the Ale House on Glenwood. What was the attraction to that group for you?
With the people. It came highly recommended, and I could understand why once I
Mhm.
visited.
Oh, it's a
And
healthy, fun group,
it's
yes.
we have a lot. I mean, we don't take ourselves seriously, but we take our business
Right.
seriously. So we have a lot of fun. We are like a big family in a
Mhm.
way. And it's just you can expect a lot of laughs, but a lot of serious
Yep.
too. I mean, we take our sales team very seriously and helping each other out. I know when I first started, Sandra Uchalis
She's been on the show. Yep.
and Kenny Bollinger
Been on the
were
show.
both in leadership, and
Yep.
they were fantastic people. I love to,
Yes.
Sandra and I have an ongoing text, kind of all the time
Okay,
going on.
good.
We just pick back up after a
Yeah.
couple of days. So, but yeah, I can't say enough about the whole
Yeah.
group. I mean, really all of them. I don't want to mention everybody's name,
That's
but we'll
fine.
get to them.
We'll get to him. Yeah.
We'll get to them.
Because Sandra's been on. She's a realtor. Kenny, the financial advisor's been on. Brian Herberger, at the time was doing Affleck. I know he's changed roles now and doing more commercial insurance. I think I can say that right. Saw him a couple days ago. We talked about him being a stand-up comedian and a middle school teacher, and which was harder. Who heckled him more? But the one that tops everybody, and you would not be surprised, is when Coach Chris was on here and he did his 30-second right here doing the stretching and everything with the band. Is hilarious.
When he's mixed it up a little bit too now.
Oh,
so he
has
gets
he?
loud and like
Okay.
I'll be, it's at lunch, so we're
Yeah.
eating, and I'll be eating, and I'll, but in a good way. Like he gets your attention, and you're listening
Yeah.
for his 30 seconds.
Each week at a BNI meeting, there's a featured speaker, and depending on if it's 5 or 10 minutes, I think you guys are single speakers, 10 minutes. Yeah. They get introduced, and we'll go through a lot of the stuff. But the two things I enjoy getting to, one is I have your work history. I got all that. I don't want those stories. We have found that pretty much you have to fall on your sword about a high school job where it's like, yeah, that didn't work out. Or I had it for an hour and realized it wasn't working. So you got to have a good high school job story.
Oh gosh.
Or early college.
Early.
Well, you're working at the bank already. We'll go back to that. Yeah, we'll get to that. Let's go back to high school. First job?
First job, and all the way through high school, I worked at the Grandfather Mountain Highland Games so I'm from the mountains of North Carolina. My parents were up there in the leadership and management.
Oh.
So, but that's where I cut my teeth. Like I learned my admin experience, know how to talk on a phone, know how to answer, so it was wonderful office and admin experience for me. And I mean, they just.
How old were you when you started that?
Whenever I could get a work permit. What is that these days? 15?
Yeah,
I don't know, somewhere around there. But all the way even through some of my college years, I worked there during the summer.
What did you do? What all did you do there? Everything?
A little bit of everything. I even, so prior to, you can't see this by my bio, but prior to accounting, I was an art major.
I have a question on that. We'll get to that. Yeah.
So I did photography for the Highland Games.
Okay.
For
that must have been cool watching. Yeah. I'm not a big festival kind of guy, but I know that's a big one.
I'm not really.
Always has, but we don't tell. Nobody's watching. We don't tell anybody that, especially your parents. Right?
They're not watching.
Ixnay on that. Yeah, so
won't post this on.
No, nobody will see it. No, nobody will see it. So, but it must have been fun though. Are you a good skier?
Not at all.
Wait a minute. That's not allowed.
I'll go tubing and ice skating, but I tried skiing and snowboarding. It was terrible. And I actually,
you can ice skate and you couldn't ski? Wow, that's impressive.
I think you fall both. I feel like I fell a lot more skiing.
Okay. Did the family ski?
No.
Okay.
So another little backstory. My parents owned a Christmas tree farm. So much of the winter months were spent, especially Thanksgiving in the tree farm.
Which job paid better, Grandfather Mountain or the family tree farm?
Grandfather Mountain. I don't think I got paid for the family tree farm.
Ashley, you're working at 4 today. Get home from school quick.
Yeah, and they'd pull us out early. My dad was a high school teacher.
Oh, nice.
So he would just round up the kids and go home, cut some trees. What time
of year literally did that tree farm open?
It opens Thanksgiving Day, but you do all the weeks heading up to Thanksgiving. You start cutting and baling.
Oh, you had to go cut the trees.
Yeah.
Do you have a good eye for picking out a Christmas tree?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. And you could cut your own tree down.
So I was what they call the sticker. So you put the stick under the branches and lift up.
Okay.
And then you had the cutter that would go in and cut.
Oh.
Now, could I hand cut?
Yeah, you could. Yeah. You didn't want to show off.
No.
Okay. All right. We'll get that. Not a bad story. Not a bad story. So I like that. So I think you're the first one. I love first on the show. Like last week we had Jake St. Peter on, and he was from Montreal, and he was on that's first one in Montreal, and he was on a reality show that never got made, and he was happy that it wasn't. So that's a first. So
I'm sure it can be found though.
I think you're without him in it again now. Yeah, it's bad. He sent me a link to it, and it's bad. Oh. So I think you're the first one with a Christmas tree farm, family farm. So we like that a lot. So.
And Sandra's from up near where I'm from too. Yep. So we have some good
Oh, yeah.
common stories.
Good growing up stories there.
Mhm.
The other good question we like to ask is now people are starting to get to know you on the show. By the end of the show, they'll know you very well. But what's something we don't know about you and may not come out in this show?
We already talked about my art.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Those
We'll get to
they'll
that.
come out. One that I shared in
Yeah.
my 10-minute was that I actually am a twin.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I have a twin brother.
How is that?
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least. We're like night and day. I'm very outgoing and
Who's older?
personable. I'm older,
By
14.
do you point that out to him?
Yes, but I'm treated like the baby of the family because I'm the only girl of 5.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So,
Were you 2 the youngest?
mhm.
Okay. We always hear with twins, "Oh, I know what you're feeling. I felt you when you fell and broke your ankle the other day. I knew something happened to you." Is there anything to that?
Not as we get older,
Yeah.
but we heard stories growing up that
Yeah.
someone's finger would get cut and the other one would bleed.
Yeah.
I don't
You know,
remember it,
okay.
but yeah,
Fraternal or identical?
fraternal.
Okay.
Mhm.
And his name is?
Adam.
Adam and Ash. Okay. Yeah. By the end, it's like, okay, make with 5 kids now, so make it easy to remember the
Yeah,
names.
they double them up like first letter with twins. I don't know.
We are here with Ashley Rutledge of Ashley Rutledge CPA. You opened that last year, about a year
Yeah, it's a
you're
little
going?
over a year and a
Okay.
half. Mhm.
Today's show brought to you by Oak City Tech, where they help you reach your goals with proven technologies for increasing traffic, leads, and sales. I do a fair bit of research for the show because I got to find some fun stuff. Otherwise, it's not any good. Nobody wants to talk a lot of business the whole time because we just don't
I
want
don't
to.
either. Right.
We're going to get into some myths about CPAs and taxes, and we'll just drip these in here a little bit. So, one of the myths is CPAs, surprisingly, are boring.
It's surprising.
Yeah, I don't get that with you.
And it may be that my background didn't start
Yes.
in accounting.
Mhm.
I've always had a math-oriented brain. But no, I have worked for and have met plenty of CPAs that are boring, but that's really my differentiator. I think it's no fun to go through life and through your business and work with your clients and not have a little fun.
Were numbers did you have that skill or that interest growing up?
I did. So my dad mentioned him a little bit. He's a
Mhm.
high school math teacher.
Okay.
He always taught the kind of the college prep classes. And so I liken my love of math to him. Um, he and my oldest daughter now sit around the table and do math problems
Oh, really?
for fun.
Okay.
So I don't love it that much, but I tell a lot of clients, math's my jam. Like I understand it, it makes sense. It either adds up or it doesn't.
Yeah. The
Um,
simple ones do, yes.
mhm.
My concern was when somebody mentioned I should get into calculus one day, and that wasn't gonna I'm good. I'm pretty good in math. My wife takes me when we go shopping, I just add up everything, so by the time we get there, she knows how much she spent or whatever, so and I'm fine doing that because that math skills I can do, but calculus and
Algebra,
yeah, not trigonometry,
geometry.
yeah, yes,
Okay, yeah.
0 interest, okay.
No, everything leading up to that.
Well, your life's easy because everything's on a spreadsheet. You just put the numbers in, it adds it up for you, right?
That is pretty easy. I mean, we
Yeah.
don't have to fill in the tax forms. There's software for that. We still have to know what to do,
Yeah.
but
The one of the other myths I found about your industry is most people assume it's male dominated, and it is not. It's almost, I
not.
think, 60%. If I wrote that down somewhere, about 60% are female of the CP or the accounting world are females.
Really all of my I have other CPAs I refer to for
Mhm.
different types of taxes, and they're all female. And my first CPA firm I went to first and worked at, about 16 of us and only 2 males.
Huh.
It was a little bit higher than
Okay.
now if you look back, they have more males there, but
Okay. Did those 2 get bossed around?
they were the bosses.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
well, you still could, though.
Yeah,
They didn't know it, that they were being bossed
yeah.
around. It's
But with
we
that many
guys.
women, they were.
Yeah, yeah, right, when you put the husband ball cap on, you're like, "Oh, I didn't know I was being told that, well, look." Yeah, so
That's
I
what I tell 'em. My husband thinks he's
oh, I gave up that ghost years ago, so and I was happy to do that. Saved a lot of conversations, like, and I know when and you'll get this when your kids move, when they go to college, and it's just your husband will get this when it's just the 2 of you in the house, and you come in the kitchen and something's spilled or broken, and you didn't do it, he just needs to admit it right there. Because 'cause I've told my wife, "If you didn't do it, why are you asking how did this get this way?" So you're
It's yeah,
he
it's gotta be you.
he'll get there.
Yeah, yeah.
You were 10 years in the accounting, finance, all that stuff before you went out on your own. What led to that decision to go out on your own, and how's the transition been so far?
Well, to be honest, I knew from even back when I was doing my accounting degree that I would eventually wanna be out on my own, but I knew I needed the experience, then the experience leads into doing the CPA, and then doing, you have to have work experience. It's a very difficult road and long road to getting your CPA. So, we always knew even when I was starting accounting classes that that was where I was heading. It's just a matter of time, and then I really had to wait till my kids were old enough to be able to handle a small business.
Let's talk about your husband and the kids. Okay, tell us all about them.
So James, we've been married 13 years.
Let me stop you right there. 2 questions I ask. How'd you meet? And do you both tell the story the same way?
We should
I didn't ask the should you, I
hopefully.
said, do
We
you?
should. It was
That
pretty
means
pivotal
him. That means he
moment.
should know
He
it.
should know this.
That's what
But
I heard.
so he should know this, and if he does, if he doesn't, he's really confused.
And his name is James?
James.
James, when you watch this, dude, I hope you tell the story the same way because there's gonna be a quiz.
And we've told our kids, so we should be on the same page.
And you should stop him right here
yeah.
before he's listening. Okay, now you tell me what I'm about
Yeah.
to say.
Let's recap this
Yeah,
first.
okay.
We actually met at the Highland Games. He had just finished his master's at State and was working up there with his grandfather in the campground, and he kept passing all
Mhm.
the time. And finally, the last day, because it's only a 4-day festival,
Mhm.
the last day, he invited me over to the campground to talk. And
Yes, he did.
yeah,
Now, the first time he walked past you, did you go, "Huh," just one of those, "Hmm,
You
let's
know, I was
see how
kind of
far
like,
down the path he's walking, figure out where he is."
yeah, like wait. I
Yeah.
knew that our families are close friends. Our grandfathers are actually really good friends.
Oh,
So I've
nice.
known of him
Okay.
for years, but he's 5 years older than me. So we went to school with my older brothers. So we didn't really have any chance to meet until this time.
Mhm.
So
Okay, I like that. Your kids?
Maggie is 9.
Good name.
Maggie, red flaming hair.
Oh, gotta be,
Yeah.
right? Middle name O'Shea or something like that.
Went with Elizabeth because but really
Close enough, yeah.
we've heard people say, "Hey, Red."
Yeah,
And
she's
we're like,
yeah. Yep.
she likes it. At first, when she was little, she was so different from most of the kids in her
Yeah,
preschool that she didn't like it,
yeah.
but she's at a point where
Nice.
I think
Okay,
she likes the attention.
okay.
And then our youngest, Novi, Novie.
Really? Do tell.
And so she's named after Novetta, which is my great grandmother. Novetta,
Wow.
but I couldn't do that to her.
No, my and I feel for you because my wife's grandmothers were Vina and Gertrude.
Oh,
Yeah, so the same.
Gertie,
Yeah, well,
right?
just yeah, we
Yeah.
couldn't go there. So Novetta, is
Novetta.
that is that a name from another country or a handed down family name,
I
or
think it's a handed
is
down
that a
family
redneck
because there were
mountain
like
name?
I think it's a redneck mountain. It's because
Okay.
there was like Nora, Loretta, Novette. They did a lot of
Oh,
like a
okay.
lot of sisters. They're called the Leopard Girls.
Oh,
There was
oh,
any
they
rhyme or
sounded like
reason.
fun and trouble, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were a lot of trouble. Oh goodness. But I couldn't do that to her. So I said I heard Novi from a gal at church. Her grandmother's name was Novi. And I thought, that's a
Okay.
great way to still honor
Okay.
her, but
There is
honor my child.
there is can't be another Novi walking around this earth,
Not in
or at
that
least in
age
North Carolina,
demographic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Does she like the name?
She does.
How old is she?
7.
Okay.
7. Her middle name's Lowe, so we call her Novi Lowe. Very
LOW.
WE. So that's a last name of my husband's
Okay, that's
maiden
cool.
name.
All right. I didn't think it was after the Lowe's chain, but you guys could be heirs to that. I hadn't gotten to that yet on your bio. So Novi Lowe. I like that. That's a singer name right there. That's
And
an actress singer
we
name
tell
right
her
there.
no so often her whole life.
Yeah,
We said we should have named you Novi No,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Novi
Oh,
No.
she's the one that tempts you? Okay. Kinda like you tempted your mother?
Mhm.
Yeah. See, I love those comebacks. Yeah. Yeah, one day, young lady, you're gonna yeah.
You'll say I'm sorry one day.
Yeah. Your mother's just dying laughing watching this, so.
Yeah.
Do they understand your work schedule? Do they are they to the point where they see and I don't want to downplay when I say a strong female presence, but it is important. Do they know that yet, that not everybody's mom owns their own business?
I think my 9-year-old's getting there, and I
Okay.
have a lot of flexibility
Mhm.
because I own my own business, so I can go on field trips with
Yep.
them. I can take them to
Oh, yeah.
their dentist appointments, and my presence is there a lot more than it used to be when I was in corporate.
Oh, yes.
So, I think they noticed that
Okay.
aspect of it, and I think my 9-year-old's got in her head, "Hey, whatever I wanna do doesn't work out,
But that's
I'm gonna come
important.
hang out with mom." You know,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
work for mom. But what they honestly think I do is play with numbers all day, which is half true,
Technically, it's right.
but they say, "Lame."
If somebody at school says, "What does your mother do?" Do you think that's what they tell them?
I don't know what it is, but it's lame. They're
That's
big on
good.
that word right now.
Do either one of them have math interest or anything like
The
that?
9-year-old does. So
Okay.
she's the one who
Maggie?
does it for fun,
Okay.
with
Oh,
my
with your
dad.
dad. That's right. Okay.
So she does, but
Alright.
I don't know that she realized you can have a business and make
Yeah.
doing it
Probably
for fun.
not that yeah, not there yet. She's just having fun with grandpa, so and doing do they challenge each other like almost like holding up flashcards or something like that?
Yeah, he'll write like an algebra equation for her, and
Dude,
I'm like,
that's rude, yeah. Can you
"What?"
figure those out?
Some of
Yeah.
the
Just
easy
go, "No,
ones.
sweetie, I want you to do this on your own,"
Yeah,
right?
and I'm really dreading that moment when she brings home math that
Yeah.
I can't really remember how to do it.
My oldest son was in the, international baccalaureate program in high school, and I checked out the minute I saw his first homework assignment. I'm like, "It's I can't help you." Thankfully, he had really good teachers and a great support system. All the students were tight. It was a big school, but that group was tight. But some of that stuff coming home, I'm like, I we sent him to my father-in-law, who was a helicopter rescue pilot, weather
Mm.
wing commander. He had in numbers he loves, and so we would hear call grandfather, and he'd send him a couple of those, and his grandfather showed him when he was little how 1 + 1 = 3. Great video when Travis was about 3 years old, sat down and showed him he could walk it all the way through, and then one day in high school, Travis tried to show his teacher that. His teacher was quite impressed, didn't believe it, but was quite impressed, so but it's funny to see what kids get what
Mhm.
from you and from your husband as well. Now, is he a numbers guy or
He
just frugal?
is. He but he's actually a scientist by career. He used to work for Bayer Crop Science, works for
Okay.
BASF now,
Yep.
is in, crop science.
Okay.
So, he's a very science-minded, but he could have gone the numbers. He could have
Alright.
been a financial advisor. He could have actually been in tax and CPA. I mean, it was like, pick which one.
So one parent is science, one parent is math. Can your kids draw at all?
The it's actually odd, but the 9-year-old Maggie's very talented in
Okay.
art, and she can just see things and put them on paper.
That skip a
But
generation.
yeah.
I'm finding out some things skipped a generation. I'm like, "Where'd you learn to do that?"
Like, I
So,
can draw, but
yeah.
I have meticulous about it, and it's not coming from my head.
Do you agree and you've only really? You've only been in business about a year on your own. Do you remember your without naming names, you remember your first client? How did you acquire that client?
She was actually the, person that said, why don't you get out on your own? I'm starting my own side business.
Oh,
Why don't you is it time? I really would like an accountant or CPA, and I know you and I like you, what
mhm,
do you think about doing this? And it really just blossomed from there. She's still a great client.
mhm.
I see her about every quarter. We have dinner or lunch,
Very
and
nice.
yeah, so I'll always remember her.
How did that transition go through that first granted you had done close roughly a few of those in other worlds and other titles, but on your own as I'm in charge here.
How'd that
The
feel?
process
Yeah.
go and everything, just getting through all that. It's pretty cool.
It was re it there was a lot of, anxiety and nervousness,
Mhm.
leading into that and, like, am I really ready for this? But the kinda creating something new from scratch was so much fun.
Yeah.
And you make some mistakes, you know,
Oh,
not
yeah.
not on client work, but mistakes on how you should structure your business and
Oh,
what
yeah, you
is
have
your
to.
yeah, so you
Yeah.
learn and you're like, "Oh, I'm not doing that again." And so I think that was fun, and my husband, he's trying to live vicariously through me. So don't you just wake up every morning and think, "Isn't this wonderful? I get to do this every day." And I'm like, "Well, sure,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
but, some days I'm busy and I think I can't get it
The
done."
first client going through the paperwork and the filing and all that, did you sleep most of the nights getting through
Most of the
that?
nights
Okay.
the first tax season, so I've been through 2 now,
Okay.
but the first tax season,
Yeah.
you just feel like, like when the buck stops at
Oh,
you,
yeah.
it's a big
Do you have a
difference.
sense of the pacing now and how many clients or business you can handle as one person?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's there. I'm actually getting ready to hire my first full-time
Oh,
accountant. Yeah,
congratulations.
thank you. So the next after the October 15th
Yeah,
deadline.
naturally, yeah,
Right. But
yeah.
I'm interviewing now and doing
Oh,
that
very
as much as
cool.
I can.
Alright.
So it's exciting. So I can handle what I have, but it's a delicate balancing
You're right
act.
there then, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we see in the business world also, that you get to that point and what do I do? Because a lot of people want to be able to tell, I do all the work, and that's fine, but your ceiling is your ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And in others, I'm ready to do that, but how do I find the right employee and stuff like that? So how did you are you still interviewing or have you closed the interview process?
I'm about to close it.
Okay.
Still got I think maybe one or two more interviews, but at this point I have a good feeling of
Okay.
who I've interviewed,
All right.
who I got a good feeling about. So I'm excited. Luckily I worked in several accounting departments,
Yeah.
so I know a pretty good pool of people that I'm already familiar with or friends with and know
Very cool.
well. So
Right.
that helps.
Right. And we're going to talk a little bit on being a business owner and I love that you brought up the mistakes you make. And it's not necessarily mistakes. And I try to tell people this all the time. It's what you learn.
Hmm.
It can be a mistake, but it's okay to admit that because you only get better by doing that. But we'll talk about that in a few minutes. We are here with Ashley Rutledge CPA. Today's show brought to you by Oak City Tech. Oak City Tech gives their clients an edge over the competition with web and logo design to make them stand out. They increase your brand awareness, generate leads with SEO and social media presence, and then convert those leads into clients so you make more money and you get better than your competition. If you will go to oakcitytech.com, let them know that we sent you. Tell Drago that Mike and Ashley and Amnon said hi, and they will help you grow your business. Let's talk timeline. So, like I tell you, everybody every week, as I do stalking research, whatever you want to call it, amongst friends. We've known each other 6 months now is when we first met. So I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not really, Plus, I couldn't find you anywhere on Twitter or Instagram, which bummed me out because those are always good
That's where the
questions.
good stuff is.
The timeline here: you went first job, no college, bank, job, marriage, college.
So college, a little
Right.
bit of college first.
Right. So let's get back to that. You are from the mountains.
Yeah.
How do you get to, hang on a sec, Indiana Wesleyan?
So met my husband, right, up in the mountains at the
Yeah.
Highland Games, and I was at Appalachian State University
Ah,
in the art school.
we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I keep saying that, but I've
In my
got
art
one
school, I know I keep
good
bringing it
question
up.
to trigger all that. I got it written
Yeah.
down. It's not been checked off yet, so we'll get to it.
And we met, and he took a year off after his master's, but he had offers at Purdue University
Gotcha.
to do his PhD. So
Oh,
NC
very
State
cool.
and Purdue are kind of sister schools, and that they trade grad students back and forth
Oh, really?
because they're ag schools.
I didn't know that. I didn't
Yeah.
know Purdue was an ag school. I knew State was, obviously, big
Purdue.
one. Yeah.
Purdue's an
Huh.
ag school. So, we met. I got into Purdue, and so we said, "Okay, we're going." I went to one night class because I was working.
Okay.
We were a young married
At the
couple.
Federal Credit Union.
Yes, working at Purdue Federal
All
Credit
right.
Union.
Well, then let's go back. According to your timeline, what came first, the marriage or the school or Purdue?
They're kind of happening at the same time.
Okay.
So when I got into Purdue, we knew we were moving
Okay.
up there.
All right.
So engagement shortly thereafter, wedding 4 months after.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it was very
Sure, you got a couple questions. Ooh,
quick.
4-month
Yeah,
engagement. Wow, honey, that's quick.
yeah, I got a lot, and they were
Congratulations.
disappointed, right?
I bet
4
they
years
were.
later.
I bet they were.
Yeah. So I went, I found the job at Purdue Federal Credit Union. So that was my entry to finance, banking.
And you were how old at this time?
22-ish?
21?
21,
22?
I think I
Okay.
just turned
All right.
21. Yeah.
Young bride.
Yeah. Yeah. When you know, you know.
That's what I felt first time I saw my wife. So I'm with you on that. So
Yeah. We're stuck.
I'm
now.
with you. We're 33 years. We think it's going to work.
Yeah. Feeling good about it.
Well, I am.
Yeah.
Can't speak for her. Never do, but I am.
And I went to one night class and I thought, this is not where, they didn't have a very good adult education program. So you could take primary, kind of your foundational classes. Well, I already had those done at App State. So I thought, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to take some time off. really figure out what I want to do, enjoy working. And then before I knew it, I thought, I really like this accounting thing. And it worked out because the credit union would pay for one class a semester if
Ooh,
you were
nice.
in a field that was relevant.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's history after that. So now I do art as a hobby.
How long did it take you to graduate
I'd already had 2, almost 3
from
years
App State?
from
Okay.
App State, so I did a year and
Okay.
a half, 2 years.
Can you be a CPA without a college degree?
You cannot. Not in the
Okay.
state of North Carolina.
They're tough. One of the interesting things about this state are some of their regulations and everything. I'm not a big fan of liquor store being closed on Sunday, but that's another show. So, but the regulations can be hard. But it sounds like this one's kind of the right way to go, isn't it?
And they really recommend doing a master's
Yeah.
to finish your credit hours out.
Okay.
Is not only do you have to have a bachelor's, you have to have, I want to say it's 150 credit hours
Yeah.
total to actually get your CPA license. So you can still sit for the exams after you get your bachelor's degree.
And you have continuing education for
40 hours every year.
Oh, really?
Every year.
Where do you have to keep? Is it well? A lot of things are online now, aren't they?
Most of them online, as long as they're NASBA, which is the National Association for Accountants.
Okay.
NASBA,
Sure.
that's what abbreviated.
Name
as long
drop
as
with us.
yeah,
We're
whatever it
friends,
is, as long as they're approved through them, you can
All right.
do the CP. But you have to have 2 hours in ethics every year too. Shocker.
You have ethics. I like that, but only 2 hours.
Only 2 hours. Yeah. You
So if
should have
anybody
more.
ever asks about that, haven't got 2 hours in that. So,
Yeah.
All right.
Check that box.
Is there a certificate that comes with that 2 hours of ethics?
Uh-huh.
Oh, you need to post that somewhere. That's funny. That is funny. I have 2 hours. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Make sure everybody has it.
That's a whole nother show. So, well, they're giving back a lot of those 2 hours, let me tell you. It was marriage, Purdue Federal Credit Union with school. And then once you graduated, then you started job hopping.
So that's what you have to do these days. So I had Maggie right at the end of my school.
Okay.
And
was that planned?
Yes, it was planned. But it was like a month or 2 I was juggling a newborn and finishing my last class.
Yeah, that's not easy.
Yeah, that was fun. And then we moved, but I stayed home with her till she was a year old. And after that, that first job is truly the hardest job you'll ever have to get. You go on so many interviews and you're brand new, you have no experience, and you need somebody to take that chance on you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because a lot of times you need experience. Well, how do I get experience? Well, you have to work. Well, how do I get a job? I've got no experience.
Will someone just train me, please?
Yeah, exactly. just give me, trust me, you won't be disappointed. Just let me start off. It'll take me out 3 days. You'll go, oh, I hired a good one. So,
And I found that I had to job hop in certain ways to move up in a reasonable amount of time, because I started with NC State. And at that point, you were not getting raises. There was no yearly raise.
My wife works for the state. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I enjoyed my time there. But I found that I wasn't really sure what industry I wanted to be in and get as much experience in. So I tried them all.
Okay. But you found what you needed, though. At what point in time, once you were in Indiana, you're working at Purdue, you're going to school, all that stuff, or working at a credit union, going to school. At what point in time did you start to think, one day I'm going to have my own company?
I think towards the end of my degree, when I was like, it's like one chapter's in and you finally feel like you can think about another chapter. But that's really when I was like, okay, I think I can do this. I mean, I need some experience and I want to really try out public accounting. Do I like it? Yes or no? Or do I like some of it? And then I also wanted to try the corporate accounting too. I wanted to see what it was like to be in an accounting department.
And a lot of times when most people feel like I've got to try these to figure out what I like. And usually you end up finding what you don't like and eliminate that. And I just tell people all the time, go into it looking for either of those, because they both give you information to move forward. Because there's some things, even in your profession, you just don't like or don't want to do. And so you either sub them out or refer somebody out, right? Same thing. Just find a way. If you don't like doing it, don't do it.
And you can't be an expert in everything in your field.
Contrary to what some people tell us, you cannot be.
I don't want to be, at least.
I always tell people, if I'm the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. So let's get some other people in here. So I always find a time to bring up my grandson, Oliver, who's a year and 3 weeks now. Your parents enjoy your 2 daughters, and they spoil them tremendously?
Yes, they do. So my parents are still up in the mountains, so they don't get to see them as often as they'd
Right.
like, but they do, and I think my mom is a totally different grandmother than she ever was a mom.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's the best.
She'll say, "Why are you fussing at them?"
Yeah. "Oh, here,
Thinking,
let's go get a
"What?
popsicle."
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
here's a hug," and I'm like, "No."
Oh, I told my boys, I said, "I'm gonna call you out. The first time you tell one of my grandkids that you never did that growing up, no, that's not gonna happen."
Well, it's me calling my mom out at this point. She'll say, "I didn't fuss at you for that."
Yeah.
"Yes, you
Oh,
did."
it's way different. Oh, great. Like I said, he's only a year old. He can do no wrong. And if I sneak him some food, I'm sneaking him some food. And I told my son that because my mom, when our oldest son was born, my mom said, "All right, here's how it's going to go. I'm going to take him when I want. I'm going to take him where I want, and I'm going to bring him back when I want." Like, okay, well, I guess that answered that. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can't argue too
grandparenting's
much
the
with it.
best.
Yeah.
Grandparenting's the best. So, first deadline we talked about at the top of the show was September 15th, the quarterly self-employed tax reporting, whatever you want to call it. October 15th, I know there's some people listening, so let's give some advice that put in for an extension on their personal
Mhm.
income tax. That's October 15th. This is mid-August. What should they be doing? Should they start getting their stuff together? Because we know some people probably procrastinate. One or two people, not a lot. But let's talk to the
Mm.
ones that are procrastinating. What do they need to do?
The myth is you have plenty of time.
Yeah.
'Cause you really do not.
No.
Because inevitably you have a tax form or many tax forms, or you haven't done your accounting for 2018.
Mhm.
There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot you have to piece together. And even when you think you have it all, you probably don't have it all. So start now. Please get it all together. I tell a lot of my clients, save yourself some money and your CPA some time and have it all together and ready.
Yeah.
Especially your income and expenses. You can save a lot of money either doing that yourself or tracking it in a spreadsheet, however you feel comfortable doing it. Just get it done. I mean, I tell a lot of my clients, I'm getting ready to send out a splurge of emails
Yes.
really this week to say, okay, we're getting close. Do you need any help? Is there anything you need from me? So,
We've seen all the great Hollywood movie scenes and TV shows where the client walks into your office and dumps over the cigar box or the shoe box with, "Here are all my receipts for the past year." Bad move. They can do it to you. I mean, you'll gladly work for that. I mean,
right.
those hours, that billings can go way up, but to have your stuff in order. How long can you go without paying taxes, personal taxes, before the IRS would know it or find it or do something about it?
It really depends on what else you have going on. If you have um, interest bearing accounts and you get a 1099 for your interest,
Mhm.
well, that's going to trigger them right away that first year. So
Oh.
really anything that you're getting a tax document from, the IRS is getting a copy of that as well. So they know what you should be reporting.
Even though they're far more taxpayers than IRS agents, they're eventually going to find you.
It may take 6 months, it may take 3 years, but
Yeah.
they're going to catch up with you
In the
almost.
penalty, again, I talk all the time with friends. What hill do you want to die on? Do you really want to die on a $2,800 hill? Because I'll show the government. I don't know whether you agree with them or not. I'll show them I'm not going to pay my taxes. Not the wise move,
No,
right?
they usually win in that case.
Amnon has a question.
Sure.
A lot of bookkeepers, not CPAs, would tell you, yeah, no, you don't have to keep paperwork if you have good backups of your QuickBooks or whatever. But it's a good idea to keep it, but you don't have to. Is that true?
It's true in the fact that can you substantiate it with your bank statement? Does your bank statement clearly say Chipotle? If it just says the address of where you got it or a phone number, that's not good backup. You want a receipt. So it really depends on how good your bank system is and do you have access to statements? If you can substantiate it in one way or another and say that's exactly what that is and there's no question, we use the term reasonable.
Yeah.
You can reasonably explain and show what that was, then no, you don't have to keep every single thermal receipt. But would I say, do I keep them? Yes. So I don't know what that tells you. I keep them in case I ever need them. And as long as I have the space, and that's only, I wouldn't say keep them for every single year till you die.
Well,
No, but usually we say 5 years is your kind of your cutoff. You can start getting rid of the ones.
Okay.
Now, can the IRS come back and ask a question? Yes.
Yeah.
So it's really your risk aversion. Are you risk averse or not? You know, I say if you can substantiate it, maybe you don't need to keep the thermal receipt. They're going to fade anyway. Ideally, unless you make a copy of it, you might lose it anyway, but that's one of those gray areas. Then a lot of people, everybody has a different opinion
no,
on it. So it's not fun, but I would say keep them if you can and you have space.
I keep them all the way back to 81.
No
But there are no
surprise. No
thermals in
surprise.
there.
Yeah, now
He-
you have to worry about
For those
thermals.
of you who've not met Amnon, he still has his 3rd grade lunch money. So when he says he keeps them that far back, trust me, he keeps them that far back. Would you rather have been the bookkeeper for John Gotti or Al Capone?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can. I would be neither, right?
Okay. That's fair.
Neither.
Just throwing that out there. Just want to see.
It's and that's what I have to be. I'm now at the point where you make, in all business owners, you make decisions about the clients you take on, and you have to not only, make good decision, but protect yourself and your
Yeah.
business. So
If there's one celebrity whose books you could keep, who would it be?
Dr. Pole, you know who Dr. Pole is?
No.
He's the Michigan vet that's on National Geographic.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Okay. I do know the name now.
Yeah.
I don't know
Dr.
anything about
Pole.
him, but I recognize the name. Okay.
Mhm.
Dr. Pope. I don't know if anybody else would give that
I
answer.
don't know.
So kudos
I mean,
to that.
I like mainstream actors and actresses, but
Okay.
I imagine they're a pain to keep
Yeah.
books for.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
like, I prefer a celebrity, but small bit like a
Why the
business.
connection? What's the connection with him?
I
Just the
I
show?
have my heart warms to the Midwest living up there.
Yeah.
It was Indiana, but Michigan's very similar.
Close enough. Yeah.
But we watch that a lot. My youngest wants to be a veterinarian.
Oh,
so,
really?
yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of
All
the family show we all watch.
I like that.
Mm.
We are here with Ashley Rutledge CPA. Today's show brought to you by Oak City Tech, where they help you reach your goals with proven technologies for increasing traffic leads and sales. They will make you stand out. Go to oakcitytech.com. Tell Drago we said hi. All right, let's get to your art. My only question I wrote down is, what is Ducky's Deviant Art?
So
I find that stuff. Yeah. I do a
you
little
found
research.
that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
right. My name is on all that. At least my maiden name.
It is.
Yeah.
Took me a minute to find that. I'm like, wait, I had to match up a picture. It's like, okay, Deviant Ashley.
Well,
I
my
think
name
there's an
is
answer
spelled
to that. Yeah.
differently too.
It is.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
So back in my art career, I spelled my first name differently, and that really goes back to high school because there were 6 other
Yes.
Ashleys.
And they were all blonde, right?
Most of them.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Although I saw a picture on your Facebook, there were 3 other girls in that picture. I think you were like 10 or 11. Were you the one with the dark hair? Because I couldn't follow the names
It
with.
could have been our college.
No,
college?
no. This was sitting
this
on a
was high
deck.
school.
Okay, was it?
Yeah.
Wow, you were young back then. Wow.
I know.
Okay.
I had similar color hair.
Okay.
I had Samantha's a very dark
Yeah,
black
you're
hair.
standing next to her then.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
and then Carla had the darker brown
Okay,
hair. So I would
gotcha,
have been
okay.
the lighter.
All right.
Yeah.
So 6 Ashleys. What were the odds?
Gosh, and I even had a good friend, Ashley, too.
Yeah,
and
naturally. It's my niece's name. One of my nieces.
it's a very popular name
Yes.
back then in the
Yep.
80s. Yeah. But DeviantArt was a great way to post your art back in, what would that have been? Maybe the early 2000s. So you're throwing it back there a
I
bit.
got a kid your age. You're killing me with this. You are killing me with this.
Back in the that was still 19 years, 18,
Yeah,
19 years
so long
ago.
ago.
Still.
I'm working on 3 of those for a lifetime.
It was a good way to, I don't know, talk to other artists
Mhm.
and have kind of a group of artists that if you were struggling or needed help with a piece of
Yeah.
art, you could post it and they'd talk about it, or it just made you feel good, right? They said, "Oh, that looks great." So that's what that is. There's some photography on there too, but a lot of what you saw, I did realistic graphite portraits.
Yes, you did. All right. Have you had a chance to dabble much?
Not since kids.
Yeah.
Every now and then I'll sit down and paint.
Yeah.
Painting, you can kind of step away from that for a while. Whereas I feel like the graphite drawing, you need hours to sit
Oh,
down
yeah.
and hit it, make a dent.
Usually with artists, either art or music or something like that, that's an outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Usually doesn't scream, I need help, but that's an outlet. What was that for you?
So art was definitely that, but I have a musical background too, since you mentioned instruments. I play 3 instruments. So I grew up playing piano from
Okay.
about age 5 or 6. And then I play violin and very recently play the banjo. So, and I
Oh,
sing, yeah, I also sing.
that's my favorite instrument. I mean, I'm hick redneck all the way. I love bluegrass.
Mhm.
Love bluegrass. And if you've ever seen Steve Martin do his little thing with the banjo, he goes, "You just can't write a sad song with a banjo." I
I've
love that
seen
too.
that.
Do you play much?
It's more of an outlet
Oh,
now.
next time you play, I'll meet you somewhere. You don't have to play for anybody else. I love the banjo. I
Yeah.
don't know that I know a
I'm not
banjo
very
player.
good so it's
That's okay.
early, but
If you can play Foggy Mountain Breakdown or Rocky Top, I'm good,
I
right?
can play Orange Blossom on the
Oh, yeah.
violin. Yeah,
Eh,
it's a
let's
violin,
work
right?
on that on the
Yeah.
banjo, okay? Well, where I come from, we call that a fiddle,
Yeah.
not a violin. But usually it's an outlet. So you do have some of that creative stuff. So your daughter
Mhm.
Maggie got that a little bit from you, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
she's taking piano lessons,
Okay.
so she kinda dominates the piano right now,
Yep.
but I sing in our church choir, so I at least get to do that every
And you
week.
also keep the books, right? You're the
I
auditor
do. Yeah.
and treasurer of your daughter's Girl Scout troop. Yeah, they
Yes.
saw you coming, didn't they?
They always
Do
see
we have
me
an accountant in
coming.
the room? Oh,
They
look.
always see
Yeah.
me coming, and that's why they wanted me VP
Mhm.
for this
You
BNI.
should be,
Like,
yeah.
their numbers.
Yep.
You're tracking
You should
numbers.
be, so. Let's go back to some do's and don'ts on taxes. Gas mileage or gas receipts? Which one do we pick and why?
Depends, but
You're good with that answer. You're a good mom, Ashley, a very
it
good
depends.
mom.
When I say I don't know or we'll think about it, it
Yeah.
usually means
Oh, I know
no,
what
right?
think
Yeah,
about it. Yeah, I
yeah.
know what that means.
But when I say it depends, I want to give you some options. So it really depends on how much you drive, because there's a bell curve. There's
Mhm.
a curve where you don't drive as many miles, so it makes sense, maybe to just do your receipts. If you drive a lot of miles, maybe
No,
yeah.
50, what is it now? 50, is it up to
Uh,
55 or
it's
57?
like I think it's up to 55. It's
Okay.
like it was 0.545 last
That's a
year.
nice write-off.
Yeah.
It's
So it really depends. And what I
I
tell
was a big fan
people,
of that back in the day, yes.
that one is
Mhm.
nice. And I
Yes.
drive a lot, especially,
Oh, you do? Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
I meet clients because I have clients in Durham.
We live out in redneck land too,
I
so, right?
do, right
Yeah.
off of
Farming and
98.
tractor,
Yeah.
look at you like green acres,
Yeah.
right?
I'm in the
Yeah.
middle, so I can
Yeah.
get to anywhere. But yeah. I sing Green Acres to my kids and they look
Yeah.
at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
another
that's
reason
okay.
why. Mom, really?
Yeah. They're like, I don't know what you're
Not with
talking
my
about.
friends around, don't sing that.
Oh gosh, don't touch me when my friends are
Yeah,
around.
I
Don't
know,
even
don't
talk
hug
to
me,
me.
yeah, I got
Yeah.
that look before too, so, what are some other things now let's talk about small business owners. What are things we need to keep in mind throughout the year of what to keep track of instead of, "Oh, what was that? Let me just make up a number."
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's no
you've heard that
good.
before.
Yeah,
But
like let's
what should we be tracking?
really the rule of thumb is there's not a lot of mystery to it. And a lot of people feel like there
Mhm,
is, but it's really they're not thinking of what could be business related. So anything related to your business reasonably. And I mean that can be anything from your cell phone, that can be internet, especially if you're doing home office. We won't go deep into that.
would a computer count?
Yes, a lot of people will either take that as an expense, depending on how much it is, or they'll do it as a fixed asset if it's a really expensive
Okay,
computer.
alright,
So certainly, it's a
mhm,
cost of doing business. You can't really run your business without that
true. These days,
computer.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And any continuing education, any dues and fees that are related to your business, like BNI.
Those are little things people I think forget about,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all part of growing your business, so,
Mhm. If you had the reading material,
yeah.
there's a lot, and I do in I think my past 10-minute, I went through the Schedule C that you fill
Yep.
out as a business owner to talk about some of those expenses and where they go and
For example, in your industry, if there's a CPA magazine, that subscription would be a write-off to that.
Mhm.
Probably you couldn't join the city club and write that off.
Probably not.
Okay. Did the IRS do away with the entertainment line?
They did.
Boy, we
So
had oh god, we had so much fun with that line, so as
oh,
did everybody.
yeah, so
Yeah,
entertainment, like
yeah.
taking them out to a hockey game.
Yeah,
Yeah. Now
yeah.
you can still to go, take prospective clients or clients out for meals, but it's still in that 50%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Family vacations. Can you pick it? Oh, I have a client there. I have a client at Hilton Head. So we're going to rent a condo for the family for the weekend. And I'm going to say I met with my client Friday. Could you write some, all, or none of that off?
You could reasonably write some, and
What would you tell somebody to do?
so there's the reasonable
Right.
clause there. Were you meeting with that client for one day?
Let's say it was 3-hour meeting.
3 hours.
Yeah.
So you could reasonably probably take a day
Okay.
of expenses.
Mhm.
Not take your whole family out to dinner, maybe. Now, do I have some clients that have done that? Sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I tell them, I'm not the IRS police, but I have to tell you that this is risky.
Mhm.
You put it on there. If they ask to see backup and you have to substantiate this,
Mhm.
it may come out that this was not a business expense. So if you are risk averse, please don't do this. If you are not, you like to take some risks, go
Mhm.
ahead, but it's not, it's
The
not crazy.
mileage and the gas from Raleigh to Hilton Head. If you had a 3-hour meeting, but a long family weekend.
So you have to think about it. If you didn't have the vacation, would you still be driving down there and back?
If you've gone there, if you go there once a quarter, and this
Mhm.
particular quarter you're taking your family, then you could defend that's reasonable.
Mhm.
I drive there once a quarter.
Mhm.
So they give you that, just not the nice condo on the water.
Right.
Okay.
So if you
right.
think, if you separate the time with the family and say, if I was just going for business, what are my reasonable expenses I would incur just on a business trip? And those are reasonable, but everything else, like the condo, probably
Yeah.
not.
Okay. With new businesses, there depending on what you have, let's assume you don't have a brick and mortar, you still have startup costs,
Mhm.
business cards, filing with the state. Can we write that? I think it's $125 with the Secretary of State. Can we
Yes.
write that off?
That's like a business licenses
Yeah.
and fees
Yeah.
expense.
Business cards.
Mhm.
If you wrapped your truck or your vehicle, you could do all those things. Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
Right, because we don't want anybody to get in trouble. I like showing people where the line is. I'm with you. You're on your own. Here it
Yeah.
is.
Here it
My
is.
advice, and I'll tell the IRS under oath that I told them where that line was.
And I have
So
to document the day, like
Oh,
when
really?
I tell
Okay.
clients these things. If I've warned you, I have to say, I have to make a note in your file that I told you on this day.
Okay. We all feel like we know what everybody else does. Oh, Ashley, she's a CPA. They just do this in this window, which is just a total lie. My favorite is when the Uncle Billy reference shows up. Oh, yeah. My Uncle Billy, he's got a landscaping company, but he's really good in math, so he does my taxes. Really? Or
Mhm.
he keeps up with and I've heard this in BNI before. Yeah, my uncle does our IT stuff. Oh, so does he have his own company? No. I forget what he did, but honest to God, we talked about that. It's like, that's not going to end well one day because you're
Mhm.
going to outgrow that eventually.
It may work at first.
You probably have gotten a client that said, yeah, a family member was doing this for me. Can you straighten it all out for me?
Yes, I've had that, and it was like they're doing, especially when there's a business and a personal return.
Yes.
If you're putting those two in a vacuum and you're not making decisions
Yeah.
based on both, you could be leaving a lot of money out on the table.
And for those watching and listening, don't play that game with your taxes with the IRS because I don't care how smart Uncle Billy is. I don't care if he's your favorite uncle and he's never done anything wrong in his life. Don't let him do your taxes.
Especially tax reform.
Oh my gosh. You can't keep up with it
No.
because it's changing. No, just whoever's screaming the loudest on a Monday or a Wednesday. Well, we're going to change it to this, change it to that. And that's also another soapbox to get on. Or they keep moving the goalposts for small businesses.
Mhm.
It's and everybody, most people know if you have a small business, I just want to know how to plan.
Mhm.
I want to know what my expenses are. Don't keep telling me every 6 months, hey, in 9 months, it's going to be this now. Well, that could change your entire business model for the next year.
And
Oh.
that's what I have a lot of clients that we do tax planning for, but we do it in the end of Q3, early
Yeah.
Q4. So they've already made a lot of decisions. This is just to
Yeah.
catch
Ugh.
any last minute ones that we can help tax wise.
The hardest thing about being a good CPA is what? Or
And
the most frustrating thing?
I think it's probably the clients that are upset by their high taxes,
Mhm.
but then don't do anything about it. So you give them the options and how you can change and relieve some of your tax burden, but they're like, no, I don't want to do anything different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But there
probably.
are ways to legally do all that stuff that may cost you a couple of hours with you to
Mhm.
figure that out, but that's going to save them That's a nice ROI. Sitting with
Mhm.
you for 2 hours and she has to say $4,000. It's taxable income that I don't have to do, anything on that. So,
And sometimes it's, it made sense early on for them to be an LLC,
mhm,
but now it makes more sense for them to be an S corp with their profitability
okay.
and things like that, and that'll save you self-employment tax. So
So once I start making a buttload of money, I can go from, okay, good to know. See,
maybe even before.
I always like learning something. So yeah, well, I'll get when we get to that. So, but it's things like that, folks, why you should go to an account. Go see Ashley Rutledge CPA. Give me the website
It is Rutledge-CPA.com.
because Ashley Rutledge CPA was taken,
Yes.
spelled different, of course.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, please call Ashley if you need help. If you don't call Ashley, call another CPA because it's just not anything you want to mess with. We've loved having you on the show today. Good luck with everything. Have fun with kids.
Thank you.
The end of summer. I know all the parents are looking back to school starting here shortly. If you go to trianglebni.com in the upper right-hand corner, you can click on Find a Chapter. Each week, each day, there's a bunch of chapters meeting. Come visit one of those, and we will help you grow your business. That much we can promise you. And you can get me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Open Mic Talk. Would love any feedback from the show. Otherwise, we will see you next week on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.